how Bertrand Russell and Brian Burnley helped heal our world. Now, you may know of Bertrand. You might have heard of him. He's the British mathematician and philosopher. I didn't know anything about him. Didn't know much about him, hadn't read him, didn't know anything. But you don't know Brian Burnley because that's my brother. That's my youngest brother. But it'll play into the story and you will understand all of it. We are moving through a big change in our world. So a lot of us don't know where we're going or what's going to happen, or we don't know what's going to happen in the world. And then we look at all the different conditions and everything that's going on and we think, why don't they fix it? You know, our government. Why don't they fix this? Why don't they change that? Why are they arguing? Why are they doing all these things? Why isn't it you? Why aren't you the one to change it? Why aren't you the one to fix it? Why aren't you the one to cause healing? Why isn't it you? We all have the same ability. We come into the world equal. We all do. But we don't always embrace what we were given or the abilities that we have or the intelligence or whatever that is. That's just what goes on. So then we move through our lives. And we need at times to find a little bit of support because we don't know where we're going. And sometimes we need guidance because we're new. You know, our life path is new when we come into the world. And then we live lives that give us so much that we could give back if we were to accept it and understand it. But that's the problem. It gets confusing. It was confusing for me because I could never put this together. I have talked about a program that I've created in this coaching that I thought, this is crazy how well this is working and why is it working and why do I care so much? In this change that we're moving through, I have channeled all of the information that would help anyone move through this and change their entire lives. And I knew that I had done that. To be able to say that to folks was just really uncomfortable. And that came up for many different reasons. You have to understand your history to see why you can't believe certain things about yourself. Because that's what we all do. It's a cognitive process. We're always moving to new levels of being, new levels of consciousness, and the world is doing that as well. But sometimes we don't want to go there. And then we're going to resist and we create problems. And I've done that so many times because mine was really strange. I did not know that I had ADHD, for instance, until just a year ago, a little more than a year ago. So anything that I did throughout my life, I thought, I'm not sure if this is going to be good. I don't know if this means anything. I just don't know. And people tell me all the time I daydream, I make mistakes, so I must be this terrible person. And so this is the programming that I accepted and put into my life. Oh, I couldn't have possibly done anything brilliant. I couldn't have possibly done anything that was going to make a difference in my life or in the lives of others. I couldn't have done that because this is my history. That's a story I kept telling. Then I started studying people who had ADHD, and thank goodness that we have the internet so I can find things. Say, oh, people have created great things because they had ADHD, because their consciousness could access other information, other levels of consciousness, because they weren't focused on what everyone else is. That's just what goes on. Then I had to add something more into it, though, was this INFJ thing. I thought, that's really odd. That was the Myers-Briggs personality test, 16 personalities. And I took that and I read it and I go, oh no, I don't want to do that. That seems like too much responsibility. And I know this is a rare thing and I don't want to be the rare one to do this because it feels like I have to actually help people. That's what it seems like, even though that's who I've been my entire life. But I couldn't put it all together. Then if you start studying this, you figure out you might develop some other cognitive thing going on with you that doesn't allow you to accept who you are. And I did that because I developed this RSD, which I had no idea existed, and most people didn't know about it because it hasn't even been around that long. But it's rejection-sensitive dysphoria. We're afraid that anything somebody might say to us will cause us to crumble because we'll be rejected. Yeah, I had that. And so I couldn't tell people exactly what I had because I might get rejected. And then I couldn't know the value of it because I've been spending my entire life thinking I didn't have any value. Even though everything that I have written since 1988 has caused me to transform my life and the lives of others, so many others. And so I thought, why am I holding on to this? And so I needed some other level of encouragement. And And this is what happens. The universe just sends you something when you need it. When you ask for it, it just kind of shows up. I'm on my phone yesterday, and this short popped up with about Bertrand Russell talking about mysticism and mystics and how that's the most important thing. I found a video the other day saying how the world needs mystics at this time, a modern mystic, and I said, and I've been resisting that when I didn't want to talk about it. I wrote things. I said, no, let me not talk about it because I knew this. And then he started talking, and I'm listening to him. I listened to probably about a couple hours of his interviews, which is so wonderful because he delivers his information in such a brilliant way, and I'm just fascinated by how brilliant he is, and it touched something with me. But see, that's what's happened. I've downloaded all of these things, these brilliant things, and I didn't know where they came from because I was attached to some other level. I was able to access another level of consciousness. We all are, but I've just been working at it a lot longer. And so I had information about what was happening in the world. And I knew that my work was to help people move through that. And if I did that, the world would be better. You have to decide that your energetic contribution to the world can make a difference. Or that's what's going to happen. You're going to either decide you're going to yell at everyone else and be angry and not work through your own issues, or you're going to decide that I'm going to work through whatever is holding me back from living the best life that I possibly could, and then energetically I'm going to put something different into the world, and it's going to change. And that's what I had. So when I listened to Bertrand, when I listened to Professor Russell the other day, and I saw his connection to the world. It was important for him what was happening in the world, and that's always been me. It is not possible for me to look at world conditions and not feel this ultimate responsibility that I have to do something. I have always been that person. I've been that person with every person that I work with as well. I know that I want them to live their best life. I have spent so much, this is why I had to speak to my brother, I've spent so much of my life denying this and taking care of everybody else till I didn't take care of myself. Many of us have done that. And so we were having this conversation last night, and again, I needed to get support from my brother, financial support, and he's done it before, because I couldn't hold on to what I had and didn't understand the value of what I had, so I couldn't charge enough money for it. I kind of knew this before, that's why I said I'm changing it all. However, it became more important because the world has shifted again. We've moved into a new energetic place. And more of us need to step up to love and light, and that means being who we are. And it only happens when you're willing to work through your restrictions, your biases, your hatred, your anger. All of those things, they gotta go. Because otherwise you're not gonna live the life that you wanted, because we were all supposed to live happy lives. Nobody was supposed to come in and suffer. We do that because of the way that we think and refuse to change. I was doing that because I was holding back. Now, it's a cognitive thing that I had to work through as well, because it became so challenging for me to even look back. I had to do this the other night, to go back and find my earlier messages from 1989 that I never allowed anyone to see. But I look at the brilliance at them and I go, where did that come from? It came through me. It wasn't me, it came through me. That's the information I was able to access. And what I've seen is that the work that I have created is changing the lives of others. And I just have to step it up to another level like you do, because we've moved into another place. And so the more of us who decide that we're going to be lighter, that we're going to love ourselves, we're going to move through our crap, and it's going to come up, trust me. And if you don't decide to move through it, you're not adding to the healing of the world. You're not adding to the healing. See, Bertrand wasn't sure we were going to be able to do this. He was thinking it might all go apart. It might all fail. And this was a long time ago that he was saying this. But we're here now. We're moving through a change. None of us have experienced this. There have been these changes in our world before, but this is a big one. But if you decide to just be who you are, own yourself, and work through to get to that authentic self, then we're going to make a big difference in our world. And that's what happened for me. And that's why Bertrand and Brian were the people who supported me to get here. And that's why it's going to help our world, because I know that one person who's done my work, well, it's already happened. There's been several people already, but more people who do my work, it is helping to heal our world. And I can die knowing that I left a legacy that made a difference. that's what we all want. We're not here forever, we know that. So what are we going to leave that's going to make the world better? Or we're just going to say it's out of our hands, we can't do anything. That's what a lot of us will do, and then we'll go back to just yelling at everyone else. I'm not going to do that anymore.